Good day and welcome everyone. And thank you for joining us for this Earth Day Symposium hosted by the San Jose State University iSchool. And this is the third or fourth year that we present an Earth Day Symposium. So that's very important. It's a pleasure to welcome you to this space where we come together to reflect on the intersection of sustainability, libraries, and information science, and what it means for our work, our communities, and our shared future. My name is Loida Garcia-Febo. I am delighted to collaborate with the San Jose State University iSchool. I am past president of the American Library Association, and I am delighted to serve as the chair of the ALA International Relations Committee, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals Subcommittee. And I also want to say that I am bringing into this collaboration my role on the IFLA Governing Board and as chair of the IFLA Management of Library Associations. Earth Day 2026 takes place on April 22nd, making its 56th anniversary. This year's theme is Our Planet, Our Power, Our Planet. And it reminds us that environmental change is not only shaped by large institutions or global agreement, but also by civic action, community engagement, and individual responsibility. From April 18 to April 22nd, Earth Day activities around the world highlight this idea through tree plantings, community cleanups, educational teach-ins, and advocacy efforts. Campaigns such as the Canopy Project focus on global reforestation, and the campaign End Plastics, addressing systemic pollution, reflect the urgency and the breadth of these collective efforts. At its core, Earth Day is a reminder that environmental progress is sustained through everyday actions that connect local communities to global challenges. And from the perspective of the United Nations, International Mother Earth Day, as they call it, is also observed on April 22nd, reinforcing the message by calling for harmony with nature and a balanced approach to the economic, social, and environmental needs of present and future generations. It is part of a broader global effort to accelerate solutions to the climate crisis, protect biodiversity, and move towards a more sustainable future. Taken together, these perspectives remind us that sustainability is both global and local, structural and personal, and that institutions like libraries play a vital role in supporting access to information, civic engagement, and environmental awareness. Today's session brings these ideas into focus for the library and information science field. I will begin with an update from the United Nations on global sustainability initiatives. I've been advocating for libraries since 2014 at the UN, and I will merge that with the role of libraries in this work. After this, we will welcome Dr. Anthony Chow, President, and Brian Lewis, Executive Director of the California Library Association, and also Dr. Chow with the San Jose State University. They have insights into how the iSchool is integrating UN sustainability goals into programs, projects, and initiatives that are preparing LIS students to be leaders in sustainable practices within libraries and information organizations. It's valuable to connect global priorities to how they are being integrated into library education and professional practice. through the iSchool and the California Library Association. So with that, I will begin and I'll share my screen. Today, I will share key updates from the United Nations during this period of time, focusing on highlights, and most importantly, what they mean for libraries and access to information. Let me start with a simple but powerful idea. The global conversation is shifting. We often think the biggest challenges are technological, but the United Nations is telling us something different. First, libraries are active at the United Nations. Next, I would like to share that a huge shift is happening. And before that, I would like to start showing some slides of the initial work of librarians at the United Nations. We presented, and I was very fortunate and proud to present the first program on behalf of libraries at the United Nations back in February 2014 about the data revolution. And so I wanted to share some of these slides so the students and the library community at large knows that libraries have been present and advocating at the UN for more than 10 years now. And so here we have some pictures, and towards the right, you can see Donna Sheeter. She's a past president of the IFLA, of the International Federation of Library Associations, and together we advocated at the UN. And here are pictures from librarians from different regions of the world advocating at the UN. And towards the right, you could see me with Julius C. Jefferson, who's also a past president of the American Library Association. And here is, this is a posters developed by the United Nations. It's actually a collage of different posters and stickers. And it's really conveying the urgency of our decade, the last decade of action, since the SDGs are due in 2030. And after that, we will start with other goals also to protect and save our planet. And very important, the motto, leave no one behind. I also want to mention something very important. As you can see, libraries have been active at the United Nations. And there is a huge shift that is happening. This one here, as you can see on the picture, is a woman, and she is the president of the General Assembly of the United Nations. She is 46 years old, so she's a young person compared to people in this type of roles. And as of April 2026, Annalena Baerbock of Germany is the president of the 80th session of the United Nations General Assembly. Important, right? Great for women and for everyone. She assumed office last September, and her term ends this September on 2026. She's overseeing the session themed Better Together, 80 Years and More for Peace, Development, and Human Rights. Very important that this woman is interviewing or leading the interviews of candidates for the next UN General Secretary. And for the first time in history, here are the candidates. There is big talk about the possibility of having a woman on that role. And so huge shift in the world related to that. Now, there is a big shift compared to now related to our world, and is about the social challenge. And now I get into the other types of updates related to the UN. The World Social Report 2025, the most recent one, offers a fundamental insight. The greatest global challenge today is not only technological, it is social. And this reframes everything we do. We are not just navigating AI or digital transformation or data. We are navigating who benefits and who is left out. 3 key ideas from this report. 1, inequality is increasing and transforming. This is not only about income anymore. It's about access to education, access to digital infrastructure, and access to opportunities. And this is where libraries become essential, because when inequality becomes multidimensional, access to information becomes a form of justice. And we must ask, who can benefit from AI? Who has the skills, connectivity, and support to participate? Second, in these 3 key ideas, is trust in institutions is declining. Across many societies, people feel disconnected from institutions that are meant to serve them. This erosion of trust affects governments, media, and even technology systems. And this is where libraries play a quiet, sometimes, but powerful role. Libraries remain among the most trusted public spaces. They are local, human, and grounded in communities. In an age of misinformation and rapid change, trust becomes as important as access. And we must ask, where can people go for reliable information? Who helps them navigate what is true, safe, and useful? Now, the third key idea is about social cohesion that is under pressure. Polarization, exclusion, and unequal access are weakening the social fabric. Technological progress, if not inclusive, can deepen these divides, and where the library becomes a bridge. They connect people across differences. They create shared spaces for learning, dialogue, and participation. In a fragmented world, inclusion is not automatic. It must be designed. And we must ask, how do we ensure no one is left behind? And how do we create spaces where everyone belongs? Now, second key UN developments that we should be aware of. And let me highlight only 3 of major UN directions that matter for our field. 1 is the Global Digital Compact. Adopted through process linked to the United Nations, the Global Digital Compact is shaping the future of digital cooperation. The priorities include digital inclusion, data governance, ethical AI, and universal connectivity. Libraries are directly aligned with all 4 of them. In fact, during the United Nations General Assembly 79, the ALA hosted libraries powering the United Nations Global Digital Compact, and this positions libraries as trust intermediaries, digital access points, and community-based infrastructure. So libraries are not peripheral, they are implementation partners. In terms of AI and the future of inclusion, across the UN spaces, from the WISES, the World Summit on the Information Science +20, and to AI for Good, that is a summit that also happens every year, the focus is clear. AI must advance human development, not deepen divides. So WISES +20 is the year review of the UN World Summit on the Information Society. This culminated last July with an event in Geneva, and they had a final review in December 2025 in New York, where ALA UN Subcommittee collaborated with IFLA to present a program. And this was a key milestone from that program. As you can see, Dr. Chow is also on the stage with us. And during the program, the UNESCO Information Unit, IFAP, issued a brief, a global brief, and it's called Global Network of Libraries and Local Impact, a policy roadmap to build an inclusive digital future. So very important collaboration with UNESCO. The document recognizes libraries as a scalable infrastructure, policy relevant actors, and drivers of local impact. Through our webinars on generative AI, we have also explored different areas. And here we have the webinars that we had during the days of AI for Good, this summit that is hosted by the UN. And you can see Dr. Chow is also collaborating with us there. So we have explored risks, for instance, bias, exclusion, misinformation, and opportunities, education, workforce, development, access. So very important to keep in mind that libraries are uniquely positioned to teach AI literacy, provide equitable access, and promote ethical use. My last update from the UN is about economic inclusion and decent work. At the high-level political forum 2025, the focus was on inclusive growth and employment for all on the planet. The ALA UN presented an event in person at the New York Public Library Stavros Niarchos Foundation Library, and it was titled Libraries as Catalyst for Inclusive Employment, Skills, and Prosperity. And it highlighted how libraries support workforce development, provide upskilling and reskilling, and enable entrepreneurship. So many communities, the library is the first place people go to rebuild economic opportunity. Now, I also want to mention human rights, peace, and trust. Another UN major emphasis is the connection between access to information, human rights, and peace. And during Human Rights Day, we highlighted libraries as builders of peace. And so the ALA UN subcommittee was present in that form as well. So, and this is not symbolic, it is practical because libraries provide trust information, support informed participation, and strengthen social cohesion. So at a time of polarization and misinformation, libraries are anchors of trust. What have we done in terms of strategic engagement? Let me briefly share how we have contributed. So here we have a summary through the ALA UN subcommittee and partnerships with the International Federation of Library Associations and Institutions and with others. We have ALA sent the first ever delegation to the United Nations, participated in the UN General Assembly events, led sessions at the high-level political forum events, and host webinars on generative AI and SDGs, and organized a Human Rights Day on libraries as peace builders, and of course contributed to the WISES Plus 20 discussions on digital inclusion. And as I mentioned, a key milestone, the launch of the UNESCO issue brief that I described earlier. What all of this, and before we continue, I want to mention what all of this means. It means that libraries are no longer just service institutions. Libraries are development actors, and we are working at the intersection of technology, equity, human rights, and economic opportunity. So this brings responsibility, right? So librarians, libraries, we should then, and this is my call, right? Advocate more clearly, measure impact more effectively, and position ourselves with national and global policy. At the end of this, I would like to share just snippets of some things that, other things that the ALA and libraries have done related to sustainability. We have established the citation for wellness in the workplace. And this is currently managed by the ALA Sustainability Roundtable. And I'm very proud to have established that when I was ALA president. Other things that I'd like to mention and share with the community here today is the SDG Publishers Compact. It's very useful for academic librarians and is developed and maintained by the UN and various of the units within the UN. And here is just an example, and you can see that it has different sections, and they're all about, scholars and academic matters. And then the other resource I'd like to share is the one from the Sustainable Development Solutions Network. And I would like to, here, if you come back to the presentation, you can see the link. And these are different resources used by university staff to strategize in relation to sustainability and development. Now, let me return where I started. The biggest challenge is not only technological, right? It is social, and it is about people, and it's about access. It's about inclusion. Libraries are one of the few institutions already designed to do this work. The question is not whether libraries are relevant. The question is, are we fully stepping into this role? And with that, I would like to welcome Dr. Anthony Chow for the next part of this session.
Thank you so much, Loida. That was a great presentation. And just looking back at all the things that we have done together, again, I'm honored to work with you. And the iSchool certainly appreciates all the opportunity to join you in all the amazing things that you do. Okay, welcome. Yay, Earth Day and our planet Earth. I have always felt very strongly about doing more, and that's partly why I'm always honored to work with Loida because of her global reach. And again, it really has opened doors for the School of Information at San Jose State, and also as president of the California Library Association, she has really given us a great opportunity to make a global impact, which is really the focus of my presentation. There is a QR code here, so feel free to click on that if you want to download the slides, and we'll also be sharing them in public later. So the title of my talk is Advancing the UN SDGs Through California Libraries and AI Immersive Technologies. I'm also going to introduce you. I'm very excited to be able to introduce you to Brian Lewis, who is our new executive director of the California Library Association. Brian, you want to say hello? And then I have a whole slide for you later on.
Wonderful. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Anthony.
And I want to apologize in advance for logos that did not upload with my PowerPoint slide. So if you do see those errors, that is those logos not going with the upload to Google Slides. So continuing on with what Loida has been saying, I have been 27 years in the field. Before we started, Loida was talking about some student strikes in Puerto Rico, where she's at, and that brings me back to when I was young and pursuing my undergraduate degree. And over my career, I realize that really the key is to always put into action things that we care about. And certainly at the School of Information and in the library field, That is one of the truest honors for our field, is to do that in all of our local communities. And so, as we know, climate change, inequality, and access are all connected together. And communities continue, in fact, increasingly need spaces that they can trust, and spaces they can go for quality and accurate information. And libraries, because of how many there are, and because of the impressive support that libraries have across political realms, libraries are uniquely positioned to lead and unite communities to this effort. So the 17 Sustainable Development Goals really established that blueprint for all of us, and people, but also the planet that we're part of, in ensuring kind of mutual prosperity. And really, these goals are designed for local interpretation and implementation. So really, all of you at this presentation and within your communities can interpret what these goals mean to you and how they best can be implemented. And again, libraries are key community anchors, because library branches are situated in communities across the country. So why libraries? Libraries really are the trusted nonpartisan spaces. We offer free and equitable access. We have deep community reach, and we offer existing programs that already align with the Sustainable Development Goals. So, for example, early literacy, that is SDG 4. Digital inclusion, that is SDG 10. Health information, SDG 3. And certainly sustainable programs, which is SDG 13. But the challenge is, again, taking what we care about, and obviously all of you care about celebrating Earth Day and helping with sustainability, taking these concepts and moving into action is the difficult part. So these SDGs can feel overwhelming and abstract, and they can be difficult to translate into local action, oftentimes because the issue or problem seems unattainable because of the scope of the issue. And there are also limited tools for implementation and measurement. Well, we want to be the solution. So this is yet another opportunity to lead. So my area of passion within the field is really literacy, both reading literacy and digital literacy. And ultimately, we have the opportunity to do much more than that. So first and foremost is to really be the local, if you will, ambassador to the SDGs, to explain what they are. And I'm assuming not all of you with us today know all of the SDGs. And don't worry, there's not going to be a test. But the bottom line is to get to know them and to build opportunities to educate not only your fellow staff, but certainly leadership within your city and county governments. And in fact, let me ask a question for the audience. How many of you would say that your local leadership is aware of the SDGs? In other words, if you ask them right now, how many of you do you feel your leadership could answer affirmatively that they know what they are and are implementing them in your county and city budgets? We are working with Loida and the ALA UN Sustainability SCG committee to develop a virtual reality, web-based virtual reality experience world. And the reason for that is because web-based virtual reality offers kind of a discovery, immersive, interactive layer. And it also allows us to not only organize and deliver content in very rich ways, but also to bring in AI conversational agents that can kind of serve as your docent or resident expert on sustainable development goals. So, for example, really a world where you can learn about the SDGs, and for all of those folks that responded, to be able to send them a link to learn more about the SDGs. Provide real examples of community-driven problem solving within certain SDGs, as well as a meeting space for discussing this across time zones. And it really is scalable across libraries worldwide. And I'm going to show you a demo slide next.
Hello. The purpose of this video is to briefly introduce Frame VR, a browser-based platform that lets you create immersive virtual spaces for meetings, events, learning, and collaboration. With Frame VR, visitors join simply by clicking a link in their browser, no download required. Visitors do not need to make an account to enter a room. They do not need to download a software or an application. They can use their desktop or mobile devices to access the space. Users have the choice to use VR glasses, but VR glasses are not necessary to experience the space. Once inside, visitors appear as avatars and can move around the space using their keyboard or touchscreen. Here, in the Freedom to Read space, an audio automatically plays to welcome guests.
Welcome, and thank you for joining us in this crucial fight against book bans.
Instructions were added to orient visitors on how to move in the space. And guests can interact with assets in the VR space, like these posters, that can be linked to websites with resources for the guests. Frame VR gives us the flexibility to freely arrange displays and assets. In this timeline room, images, text, and videos are organized chronologically, leading to a virtual representation of the iconic Big Red Chair, a centerpiece of the ALA annual convention. Guests can sit in this virtual representation of the Big Red Chair, just as they might at the conference, and watch a video of librarians reading banned books.
My name is Carol Bray, and I'm a past president of the American Library Association. Reading from...
In addition to audio zones and other interactive media, Frame VR also allows guests to talk or chat and collaborate in real time. Activity or collaboration zones can be built into virtual reality spaces, like this whiteboard asset, where guests can collaborate in real time to draw or brainstorm as a group. Other interactive tools include meeting transcriptions and translations that can be provided in real time or after the meeting as a report. And this live streaming asset, where guests can share screens or webcam feeds. Chatbots can also be added to a virtual reality space and trained to answer guest questions. To summarize, Frame VR lets you create accessible virtual spaces where people explore and interact with content in many different and immersive ways. The look and feel of your virtual reality environment will depend on your project's goals and needs. So, what kind of environment are you hoping to build?
So I wanted to share that I'm excited to say that CLA is going to be using this technology for our next conference in October. So I hope all of you in attendance will be joining us. And by creating a virtual reality environment, we'll be able to open the exhibit hall a month before the beginning of the conference. And then we're going to keep it open for 3 months after the conference is done. The iSchool also uses spaces like that for our virtual graduation, since most of our students are not local. And we also use it for poster sessions. And in fact, we will have virtual poster sessions for the ALA conference coming up in June. As again, we know most students cannot attend the physical conference. So the core capabilities that we're looking to bring are, again, really VR-based SCG experiences, and that'll include testimonials, documentaries, as well as replication aids. AI-guided learning. So really AI and the conversational aspect of that really has changed how we seek information. And so, again, this is more of a non-threatening I was gonna say person, but agent that you can talk to and ask questions of. Implementation toolkits. So again, really going from awareness to actual action. We want to provide and really serve as a nexus for libraries across the state of California as well as globally that have successful implementations. And we want to be that resource to make it easy to replicate. And then more community engagement modules. So again, diving deeper into kind of the transformative aspect libraries will have in implementing these SDGs within the community. So as I mentioned, really one of the game changers is having that interactive AI agent that will be in the space. So in essence, we're using Frame VR. Any content that we upload and put into the space can also be added to the knowledge base of the AI agent. And that AI agent can either be told to just access the knowledge base that we built them, or also use ChatGPT as well as the knowledge base that we've given them. So ultimately, this AI agent, again, will be an interactive element that will allow any visitor to either search in many different ways. So search, obviously, by discovering the space as an avatar yourself. You can, of course, do searches via text, and you can also talk to the AI agent. This will provide just-in-time support, as well as kind of an empathetic assistant to what you're trying to do. It can also personalize and scale. So those of you that may already have a chat subscription, no matter what service you're using, the AI gets to know you and oftentimes will save your history so that you can continue to, it can continue to customize its recommendation. And again, really the key is moving from awareness to action. So we're all busy and we never have enough time. And I believe, again, these type of technology solutions will accelerate, save us time to find the information and give us more time to actually implement that information. So some examples include climate resilience. So again, running simulations in terms of how we can impact our climate. Building local book ecosystems. So I'm proud to say that based on my IMLS grant looking at early children's literacy in Native American communities, we have built a model called book ecosystems, and we have implemented or disseminated or about to disseminate well over 100,000 books globally, including in Kenya, Ukraine, and through Native American communities across the country. health misinformation. So again, health, of course, is an important priority for all of us in ensuring that, the health access to good health information and protecting against health misinformation is critical. And then certainly sustainability in our local environments, everything from your own carbon footprint to kind of a citywide, sustainability plan are all things that libraries can certainly take the lead in. So AI as a library partner. So ultimately, this AI agent in our VR space is intended to really be a partner for the entire library. And so, again, ultimately, that AI agent can, again, build a knowledge base around the preferences of that particular library, generate action plans based on what has worked in other communities, connect to funding and partners, and also help track outcomes and impact. So again, having that subject matter expert and that AI agent not only serving that you and the library, but rather also being, again, the overall nexus for all of the different implementations and being able to share that data with everyone. So really the implementation model is evergreen, right? So awareness for you, awareness for your staff, awareness for your leadership, and then really looking at potential opportunities to move to action. And of course, resources drive action. And so that awareness and that education within your own organizations is critical. And then, of course, assessment and refinement based on success or lack of success, and then going back into the continuous loop. Local impact, statewide reach, global connections. So as president of the California Library Association and as a member of the ALA UN SDG subcommittee, I want to start with California. And I also am so proud of our iSchool students who developed a lot of the work that was demonstrated to you in that video, and also are working in my lab now, the Library Technology Integration Lab, to build this example space. So again, we want to focus on local impact. And I'm going to introduce you in just a second to our executive director so that he can talk a little bit more about how he's helping California, the CLA as an association become strong enough to be able to do this. So encouraging local impact through our statewide reach, and then serving as a role model but globally by the work that we are doing in California, as well as in collaboration with Loida and others in the community. So the role of leadership, this requires coordination and strategy, and that's really Loida and the subcommittee, as well as at this point, the California Library Association, providing libraries with infrastructure and support, and obviously having AI agents provide more of that real-time support is critical. And again, opportunity for statewide leadership, not only through libraries in California, but also by working with our California state government to fund these initiatives. So CLA can do its part. And we are already a leader in advocacy in libraries. We are a trusted association with a long, prestigious history. And we can and should be a platform for scaling innovation. And this brings me to why we are so proud that we have brought Brian Lewis to CLA as an executive director. So let me turn it over to Brian to briefly say hello and maybe share some of his exciting ideas. and how he can help CLA move SDGs forward.
Thanks, Anthony, and good morning, everybody, again. I've led education nonprofits at the state and local and international levels, and when the opportunity to partner with, collaborate with, and be a part of CLA came up, I was really very excited about it, and I'm grateful to Anthony and the board for giving me the opportunity to work with them. If we think about CLA, I think about it as this sort of community of communities throughout the state. And part of what CLA has done so beautifully over many, many years, formally being organized in 1906, and really through the sheer will of volunteers over many, many years, it is this tremendous organization that we see today. And so when we think about a future for CLA, we think about building on all those strengths and finding ways to partner more closely, collaborate more strongly, building on the type of work that Loida and Anthony and so many others have done over the years to bring us to this moment. We really do see libraries and CLA's partnership with them as exactly what Loida and Anthony have been describing, which are these centers of community, whether it's rural, suburban, urban, big, small. California is a big state. One of the things that's interesting about being from California and representing California at the national level or international level is the sheer scale of the state and the diversity of our state in every way. And so one of the things that CLA is looking at as we go forward is to imagine how we partner with you, every library professional, every community in service to community. As I said, a community of communities. And as the slide talks about, focusing on innovation. What does that mean in every community? What are the things that are unique among us? What are the things that are unique to a particular community? And how do we build those strong partnerships? What does that look like? And continuing to play the role that CLA has played for so long, as Anthony said, CLA has been a tremendous advocate. The advocacy work that CLA has done for many years is a huge part of its contribution to the library communities throughout the state and to our collective library community, and we'll continue to do that. But as we go forward in talking with Anthony and the board of directors and all the folks that we work with, we see great opportunity to build on this and build on top of all these efforts, including the SDGs at the international level, and bringing it back, as Loida and Anthony have been talking about, to that local community, and CLA being the key partner, collaborator, and supporter of those things going forward. So I'll stop there and thank you, Anthony.
Thank you, Brian. So I know we're short on time, so I'm going to move much faster just to provide time for a few questions. So again, the investment in Brian is an investment in CLA and an investment in actually taking our ideas and implementing them. And so again, I believe CLA must serve as a lead catalyst. The iSchool must serve as a catalyst for moving this forward, as I'm sure all of you are similarly concerned about the future of our planet. And the bottom line is we must move from concern and talk into action. So really, we want to develop best practices. We want to collaborate and use our partnerships up and down the state. And we want to advocate for sustainable funding to actually implement these in our local communities. So what I propose, or what we are doing, is certainly a pilot. And so this VR initiative is moving forward. And it's something that we should have in an alpha beta version by the end of the summer, as I have a new group of students coming in. And we are seeking early adopters. So if any of you are interested in joining us, do email me. And we would love to build and collaborate with you and hopefully have you and your library implement some of these SDG pilot projects. So it goes without saying that we're stronger together. and that if we work together, we can make a real impact and certainly generalize that across multiple communities. So definitely, we want to work through our association and through our libraries, build partnerships with cities, universities, NGOs, and also technology partners, especially in California. So finally, again, join us as a pilot site. We would like you to join CLA and move and creating a movement or joining the movement. So partner with us, support the development, and help us scale. So with that being said, there is my email, president@cla.net.org. Many of you have my SJSU email as well. I really appreciate your time. There's the QR code. And I want to thank Loida, as always, for her leadership, her vision, her passion, and more importantly, her action, as she was the one that suggested we have this event, and I'm glad she did.